Easter seals today.
Hi, welcome to Easter Seals Today. I'm your host for the day, and I'm Carol Galt, and I'm here today with Tara Beyer and Carol Elder, and we'd like to welcome you here to visit with us and share today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, let's get started. And let's start here with you, Tara and Carol, and let's just start with your job titles and tell us what you do.
I'm Tara Beyer, of course, with Easter Seals, West Kentucky. I'm the Vice President of Children and Medical Services, which is a long title for nothing much, but I run all the children's programs as well as all the therapy programs for the center.
Okay.
And Carol Elder with Murray Head Start. I'm the director. It's been my third year as director of Murray Head Start, which also includes the Early Head Start program. And that's how we're related with Easter Seals. We have children that are served through Early Head Start program there at Easter Seals. And I oversee the operations for services for preschool children in the Purchase area. We have 11 school districts that we partnership with preschool services, and then our Early Head Start services as well.
All right,
So
great. You know, as we're doing each one of these series, it's always a learning experience for me, just like the audience, and that's been the actual purpose of these series. And I always learn more about these partnerships, but let's just kind of break it down just bit by bit. So let's start with you, Tara, and talk just a little bit about children and medical services. I received some notes right as I was coming in, just so I could learn more. So just talk to me just a little bit about that piece, and let's explain that to the audience.
Sure. In a very general terms, we like to consider ourselves almost like a super Walmart. We're kind of a one-stop place for families that they can come and bring their children. We provide numerous services, one being inclusive child care. Those are for children ages 6 weeks to 12 years of age. We do serve children of all abilities. About 70% of our children are typically developing. They're within a normal range of development, and 30% do have special needs or disabilities of some sort, type, or variety. We also provide before and after school care for school-age children to all the city schools, and then 3 of the county schools as well. And along with the before and after school care for the school-agers is also a huge summer camp program that we offer during the summer for that age children. And then of course we have our collaboration with Early Head Start, with Murray Head Start for Early Head Start services, where we provide child care for children birth through 2 through the collaboration, almost 3. And then finally, we also have our therapy program, which is an intensive outpatient program where we provide speech therapy, physical therapy, and occupational therapy for children.
Okay, all right.
A lot going on.
So, well, tell me, if I wanted to get someone enrolled in those programs, what would be the first step?
The first step would be to call the center and kind of let us know what you are needing. Are you a family of a typically developing child that just needs child care? If so, we're open Monday through Friday, 7 to 5:30, like any other facility, around Paducah. But at the same time, we are inclusive, which means we do have an environment to where children of all abilities play and learn together. And it's very much a win-win situation in where if you have a child who is typically developing, then they are a role model, they're a peer, and the more that their abilities are reinforced by being role model, then the higher that they reach of their own potential. The same goes actually for a child with special needs. Of course, children learn best from each other than they do from adults, both good and bad. And we consider a child to be a child first and a child with a disability second. So when they come to an inclusive environment such as ours, then they are learning and playing and growing and developing along with their peers just like any other child would, and having the same experiences and the same fun and those type of things.
And so that partnership with Early Head Start is the same admission process?
It is and it isn't. We actually have 10 slots that we share through Early Head Start, and they can either go through the Early Head Start office to be enrolled, and I'll let Carol tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. But we do have families that will call our office and have a child that needs to come in for child care, and we, just knowing how the program works, know that they would be a good family that would be eligible. So in that turn, then we will turn them over to Early Head Start or say, hey, we've got this family that we think would be a great potential for our shared program.
Okay, well, you want to talk to us a little bit about those shared programs?
Early Head Start was started in 1995, and it was the main mission was to identify the needs or to provide services for pregnant women through age 3. So it's an early intervention program. It's a comprehensive program, which means that they focus on all of the developmental areas of the child, as well as the needs and the areas of concern that a family may have. So it's family development as well. And it's just to ensure their success so that they can support that child through their development and growth to be successful and finally to be self-sufficient families, to strengthen that. And we provide all of those services for our children that are at Easter Seals as well. Some of the comprehensive services have to do with health services, nutrition, family services, and again, that's going back to the family because it's very much a part of the early Head Start program and the Head Start program as well. We don't isolate just the child. We work additionally with their family to really strengthen support for them to help them to be successful and self-sufficient. So family services, we have a family partnership agreement that we work with those families of the children that are at Easter Seals as well. And it's needs that they identify or things that they want to work on in their family, whether it be to obtain a GED or a high school diploma or whatever it may be. And we work with those families very closely. So as Tara was saying before, our families can enroll either through the Easter Seal Center, or we have a family services office at McCracken County Schools. Like I was saying before, we have partnerships with school districts, and they are family services for the preschool Head Start children that are in McCracken County, but also they want to identify any children that may be qualified for early Head Start as well. So, families can call that office as well, and I think we have that number, for them to contact them if they're interested in applying for early Head Start.
Okay, all right.
So it's interesting because you can walk into a classroom at Easter Seals and look around, and at any given time, it looks like a group of young children playing together, learning, growing, doing whatever, whether it's an art activity or singing. But then as administrators or teachers, we know that this particular child is from just a community-based family who needed childcare, that wanted their child exposed to the inclusive environment and learning and respecting people for who they are, not necessarily how they act or what they do, just respecting people for people. And then you look at another child, and this child may be a shared early Head Start child, which is an income-based program. So they're from an income-eligible family. And then you look at another child, and this child may have a disability. And they're all learning and growing together, and to look at the group, you may never see any difference in any of the kids, and that's how we want it. But we purposely strategically place these kids in the room so that they can be in this inclusive environment.
Well, and let's talk about just a little bit about the admission process. So if families know, the costs associated with being in admission. Some of them are income-based. Some of them people just pay just like they would for any other child care, correct?
Correct.
Do you want to speak to that just a little bit?
Sure. And it depends on, and as we mentioned earlier, once a family calls us, then we ask certain questions to figure out where they are on that grouping of people. But there are people that pay for child care, such as myself. My child goes there. And there are people just from the community that want their child in a high-quality program, want their child for the place that has lower ratios, want their child to a place that have teachers with education and experience, and they pay just like any other family pays. Then there's a group of families that come in through Early Head Start where they don't pay for the services. It is an income-based eligible program, and they're blended in. And then we have the group of the children with disabilities, and their slots are that 30% is a number that we try to meet at all times. And it's 30% per classroom. It's not just center-wide. So in any given time, there are some children there with the disabilities. And then we also have a group of people that we take that's another income-based program, although it's not Early Head Start, is Audubon Child Care Assistance. And those families the parents have to be working and going to school, working and or going to school in order to be eligible for that program as well.
Well, you just mentioned high standard quality care. Let's talk about what the high standards are, what that means to meet those high standards. I know there are ratios that you have and things like that. Let's talk about that for just a
Okay.
minute. We want to address that.
We answer to about 5 different
We do, different
quality
standards.
Sure.
And I think that's a part of the partnership that is a strength as well, is that we can offer high quality, because all the research shows you can offer childcare in many different forms and fashion, but it doesn't make an impact on that child's development unless it is high quality. I mean, that's what all the research shows. It must be high quality. And some of those indicators would be staff qualifications, and that's something that I think is number one, most influential on high quality, and those interactions. And the higher education that a person would have, or the training that they have in child development, the better those interactions become and the better the quality, and that child will be much more successful. So through our partnership, we're able to contract with West Kentucky Community and Technical College for child development classes, and our child care providers go to classes on Friday, and they actually obtain coursework. So they're in college coursework classes. We believe in lifelong learners. We want them to get their CDA, which is a Child Development Associate. It's a credential, but we want them to further their education if they'd like to, so they do have coursework. It's a foundation from which to build on, an associate's degree or whatever further education they want to get. But I think that is one of the biggest indicators, of course, the learning environment and all of the pieces that go into that, and materials, and just the classroom arrangement. It needs to be definitely child-centered, and you need to be able, everything should be on the child's level and with developmentally appropriate activities and materials for them to use.
The low ratio is another one. I'm sorry, that
Yes,
is a big plus, and because we do have collaborations and partnerships with organizations such as Murray Head Start, and because we do have the children with disabilities included, we run about half of what is a state mandated regulation. We go about half of that. So in our infant room, we have 6 babies to 2 teachers, or a 1-to-3 ratio. And that helps the children get more individualized attention. It helps reduce sometimes even any behavior concerns that might be happening, and it just allows for a more functional environment so that children are getting what they need to develop to their highest potential, whatever that may be.
Exactly.
Right. I've noticed when I've been at the center, there is a very low ratio. I've also noticed the great playground equipment, and even the bins, and all the things that are there, all the accommodation. It's great.
It's a beautiful center.
Beautiful
It really
center.
is.
Beautiful center. You all have done a very nice job there.
Thank you. It's beautiful, but and I appreciate that very much, because the Easter Seals and the Board of Directors worked very hard for several years to be able to provide that center for us. But I think I go back to what Carol said, the most important thing there are the teachers.
That's right.
We can have a beautiful center all day long, but without those 20 plus ladies in there day in and day out, providing the environment that those children need to grow and develop, it wouldn't be much of anything. So it all goes back to them.
Yeah, okay. Well, we are going to take a break right now, and we'll be back with you in just a moment, but let's go for a break right now. Thank you. Join us in just a few moments.
Easter Seals today.
And here today on Easter Seals Today, and we have with us Tara Beyer and Carol Elder from Murray Head Start, and of course Tara is here from the local Easter Seals Center, and we're going to pick up right where we left off and talk about therapies and inclusion. I think those are a couple of buzzwords that I continually hear associated with Easter Seals. And until I kind of hung out with you all just a little bit. I wasn't really sure. I continually heard the words, but let's talk about that just a little bit more.
Sure. I think inclusion is an important word for Easter Seals, and I think that especially with our community who are such great supporters of Easter Seals, it's important for them to understand what inclusion is. Whenever I first took this position almost 15 years ago, Easter Seals provide a majority of the services to all children with disabilities, whether that be their therapies, their educational programs. But as the course of society changed and as the laws changed, the school systems began to legally provide those type of services. So Easter Seals had to make a conscious decision on how are we going to still stay in the game providing providing services to children with disabilities. How are we going to do that? How are we going to do that the best way that we possibly can? And the decision was made to go through inclusion. And then the decision was made, well, to go through inclusive childcare, because truly that was an age group at that time that was being missed. It was that early intervention, that key age group of the 0 to 5-year-olds that the quicker you get to these services and the faster you start providing them, the better it is for the children with disabilities. So honestly and truly, the word inclusion means bringing those typically developing kids in. And a lot of times people still ask, well, your Easter Seals, why do you have your typically developing kids there? And it all goes back to one basic premise, is that they're there for the children with disabilities. They're there to, once again, help them learn and grow and develop to their highest potential. But more than that, they're there so that these children with disabilities can feel like and act like and be treated like a kid first. And so that's why we say inclusion. So inclusion is everything we do and everything we say and everything we breathe. It's everything that all the services that we provide at Easter Seals are truly inclusive. And the other thing that we focus on as far as inclusion is all abilities. Even if a child has a disability, 2 children with Down syndrome don't have the exact same characteristics, and they don't have the exact same needs, and they don't have the exact same challenges. So we truly look at the ability of the child, and whatever that child's ability is, we take it and we try to go from there. So they may be a child with a very high IQ that's performing way above what would be typical, but we take his ability and we go to the next level. Or maybe a child with a disability, whether they're autistic or have Down syndrome or just have a speech delay, and we look at what they need and we try to take it to their next level. And that's a part of inclusion as well, as it's not just children with disabilities and children without disabilities, but it's focusing on all abilities.
And we mentioned therapies as another word. Let's talk about that as well.
Therapies is actually a program that we've been trying to grow and develop now for about the past 4 years. Again, as society changed and the world changed, and we started including children with disabilities more and more into their environments as far as the school systems, then we saw that therapies, although they were being picked up by the school systems, that there was still a great need of the children with disabilities to get a little bit more. So we have a large outpatient therapy program. We do speech therapy, physical therapy, and occupational therapy. And I believe we'll have a show on that maybe in another couple of weeks where we can go into it a little bit more. But we serve about 30 children a week through those programs. Well, they'll be coming in and out of the center. The other thing about the therapy program is, although it's outpatient, if there is a child who is going to our child development center that needs the therapies, and they are determined eligible through either private insurance, medical card, or a scholarship, then the therapist will actually go into the classroom. Another part of inclusion is that they actually get their therapy while they're in there with the other kids, and the therapist will even sometimes tap into the role models and get them over there so they can talk and play and do as the therapist are working with a child with a disability. It's a great motivator.
And that's been something interesting to watch. Is I've watched these children be in the process of therapy, but it doesn't seem like therapy. They have no, it's just every day having fun, and that's a really great thing to see them experience. So
it's very functional. They're in there doing what they would naturally and normally be doing anyway. So the benefit of having the typically developing children in there to role model and help and show and motivate is good. But then also that the teachers are in there, and our teachers are kind of watching what the therapists are doing and seeing how they're doing it, and then they in turn carry that over. That once the therapist leaves the room, the teachers are still doing it throughout the child's day.
Right.
So reinforcement.
Carol, tell us just a little bit more about early Head Start. Anything else that you want to kind of bring home for us here in the partnership and the collaboration? We've got just a few more minutes left. We probably have 10 more minutes left, so we can start making sure there's something that we need to bring home now.
Well, as I said before, it's an early intervention program, so any child that is identified early on during that age between 0 to 3, we have therapists that would pick up on that, and we do the developmental screenings to see if there are any concerns with that child's development. So we're able to do that early on, and all of the latest in brain research development tells us that the earliest you begin those therapies that she was saying, speech therapy, occupational therapy, earlier you start that intervention, the better success is going to be, because that's the critical period where that child is developing those skills. And so it is timely that we get in there early and do that. And that's the reason Early Head Start has been such a success, is because we've been able to do that early on. And it's, like I said before, it's comprehensive. Not only do we provide the family services, the health services as well, all of those things for that whole child, but we're looking at all the areas of development, as I was saying before, with that child. Physical, the intellectual, social, and emotional development. And these teachers are qualified and trained to work with those children in all those different areas. So we're really focusing in on the development of that child and making it, there's a lot of great success stories out there, children that have, severe disabilities and are, because of inclusion, because of getting the therapies early on, they are so much more successful when they enter kindergarten. And that's what we're in the business of, And with Early Head Start and Head Start, it's a school readiness program, and we want our children to be ready and on a level playing field when they start kindergarten. And it has made such a difference in so many lives. I think we could think of so many children in the past that have benefited from being in the program. So a lot of success locally that you can say. It is a benefit, and it's a very worthwhile project, and the collaboration, I think. And
I think one of the other things about the collaboration that doesn't necessarily get overlooked, but I think is almost taken for granted, at least on our part, is that whenever Carol's talking about some of the mental health services as well as the extra benefits that they do other than just the child care, it's not just those particular, because remember, these children are blended in the classroom, so there'll be 3 in this classroom, 2 in that classroom, 4 in that classroom. But not only do those 4 children or those 3 children receive the services, every child in that classroom does. So that's another thing about the collaboration. It's not only is Early Head Start providing services to our shared children, they're providing it to all the children in that classroom. So it's such a win-win situation, especially for Easter Seals, in that not only do we get to provide services to the children that are income eligible and keep our program inclusive of not only children with and without disabilities, but children from all different socioeconomic groups, but also if we do have a family that may have not been income eligible but fell upon some hard times, there's some services that we can fall back on for that family.
Right.
And all we have to do is call Early Head Start, and they have some resources and some things they can tap into. There might be a family who is not income eligible, but yet they still can't afford private insurance, and the child might need some type of mental health consultation, or we might be having some behavior issues that mom and dad just need a little bit of help trying to figure out what to do and how to handle it. Again, all we have to do is call our friends at Murray Head Start, and they'll help the family out, even though the child's not necessarily in Early Head Start program. So it's very much a win-win situation for the children and the families.
So the takeaway here really is, if there's a question at all, no matter what the age, no matter how young, call and ask the question, because more than likely there's a way to get services or
Super
find
Walmart.
Exactly. That's
We've
the best
got something
analogy.
there for just about everybody. Absolutely.
And something else to keep in mind, like she's saying, the beauty of it is that these children qualify and are eligible for Easter Seals, Early Head Start in lots of different ways, but they all receive a very good quality child care experience, and that's the bottom line. And it's a blending of resources. It's a blending of federal, state, and local funding, and it's very, very crucial that we continue that funding. And we know, the hard economical times that we're having now with the economy like it is, and just like to say that you need to let your legislators know it's working in our area and it's very much needed, and we need to continue it.
That is an excellent, excellent point. I think sometimes all of this other stuff gets lost in how this is funded, and that really has been part of the mission of Easter Seals and how it started, was to provide these services. And so we're going to wrap up here, and Tara, I'm just going to turn to you and let you just give about a 2-minute spiel on the mission of Easter Seals, how it's funded, and then we'll just leave with that. So
Sure. Well, I think the overall mission, once again, is to provide services to children of all abilities. And I think this name of the game then is to take our children with disabilities, put them in that inclusive environment, give them extra resources such as Early Head Start can provide us, and help every child develop to their highest potential, no matter what that may be.
okay, all right. Well, I think we have touched just about on everything. And anything else for the audience real quickly here?
No, I think we'll jump into therapies a little bit more later on, because we do have a huge outpatient therapy program, and we'll have the opportunity hopefully to talk about that some more.
Okay, all right.
good.
Thank
That's
you.
great. All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you both for joining us today. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.